1986. Today, she is teamed up with Brian Ginsberg, a gymnast from UCLA. He catapulted into the limelight at the American Cup by having the lead after 5 events. Although he finished second overall in the meet, he left the competition as one of the most respected athletes in the world. Today, he has his work cut out for him because the Soviet Union has 2 shining stars on hand. 16-year-old Irina Baraksanova placed 3rd at the American Cup, but she is always expected to finish 1st. As you can see, she's that talented. Today, she is paired with a very strong teammate, Alexei Tikhonki, who is a college student at the Lenin Kuznetsky Institute. When he's not studying, he's winning gymnastics meets. 1986 has been a good year for the Soviet superstar. He won the American Cup. And these are just 2 of the 20 teams on hand for the McDonald's International Mixed Pairs. Gymnastics. From the Hampton Coliseum in Hampton, Virginia, it's the McDonald's International Mixed Pairs Championships. Today's telecast is brought to you by McDonald's. It's a good time for the great taste of McDonald's. Inside the Hampton Coliseum, it's a flurry of international activity as our competition is about to begin. Hello everyone, I'm Leandra Riley, and this is a unique meet that we have in store for you. We have 20 pairs representing 19 different countries. All 20 pairs will compete in the first round. The men's and women's scores are combined, so both athletes must do a good job to advance to the second round. Only the top 6 pairs will advance to that second round, and from there, only the top 3 will compete in the third and final round. So as you can see, we only have 3 apparatus involved in each event. Therefore, our gymnasts for the women's side will be competing in 3 out of 4. On the men's side, it'll be 3 out of 6. Right now, let me bring in our expert color commentator. He has 2 Olympic gold medals, 1 Olympic silver medal, Peter Vidmar. Peter, you've competed in mixed pairs competition. It's hard to say, but it's really fun and competition combined.
It's a lot of fun. It's kind of a new format, but it's catching on throughout the world. They're having mixed pairs competitions all over the world. I enjoy competing in them, and even though you feel the pressure, you have fun when you get to compete with a girl.
All right, let's get down to the nuts and bolts of it. We have the Soviet Union against the USA. You and I have kind of predicted they're going to be 1 and 2. On the USA side, I guess it's really going to be a prove-it time for the USA, Ginsberg and Phillips.
Christy's coming off the best meet of her life. She's the new star of USA Gymnastics after winning the American Cup. And Brian was the runner-up, but he made a little mistake on that last event. He could have won it also. Brian won't be doing that weak event, though. He's going to do his best events today, so they're going to be probably the team to beat.
On the Soviet Union side, Tikhonki certainly is a seasoned veteran performer. Will he be carrying the load for Baraksanova?
Certainly not. Tikhonki is probably one of the best male gymnasts in the world. He's the American Cup champion. But Baraksanova is also one of the best female gymnasts in the world. She didn't have the performance that she wanted to have at the American Cup, and she's going to try to do it here.
Since it is an unusual format, we have pinned ourselves down to just the USA and USSR. Do you have another country who you think might sneak in there?
I think the other Americans are going to be tough, but you never know. They're all going to be great meets. It's going to go down to the last competitor.
All right, we'll find out in just a few moments who is going to be internationally mixed pairs. Right now, we're going to take a timeout, but when we come back, the competition will begin. It's about to begin. I'm Leandra Riley along with Peter Vidmar, and to refresh your memories, the men and women's scores are combined. It is a combined total that will advance to the next round. This is a representative from France. Her name is Christelle Robert, and she's vaulting.
Crystal's going to do a handspring front flip. It's not a very difficult vault now compared to some of the other ones that the girls are performing, but she did it quite well, and she had a very good landing.
Women's vaulting competition has 2 vaults. As we take another look at her first vault.
Let's see. Now you'll see her legs come apart on the post flight as she tucks her knees in. And it's not quite as attractive, and yet it's really not a deduction in women's gymnastics.
Of course, the judges don't have this overhead view that we have,
That's
so
right.
The legs being apart don't look as bad.
That's right. And here's another view.
Does it really help in the rotation when they cowpoke it, as they call it?
Well, it does. It helps to really bring in that center of gravity, and you can twist much, much faster. Now she's going to do one more vault.
And it'll be the better of the 2 vaults that will count as her score. So her second vault, if it's the higher one, that'll be the score that is used. And of course, that will be added to her teammate's score, and the combined total of those 2 will determine who advances. Christophe Robert is coached by Maurice Pierre Saint-Genis. I love the French names.
And that one was done a little bit better, a little bit higher, but the landing wasn't quite as good, so it probably will be around the same score.
Marie-Pierre Saint-Genis giving her gymnast some advice.
Almost decided to make him an honorary citizen. He's 25 years old and studies business and languages.
You'll see her legs a little bit more straddled. It looked like it was a little bit higher, but the landing wasn't quite as good. She took a much bigger hop this time.
And now her teammate and countryman, Laurent Barbieri. He is 25 years old, 5'7", 140 pounds. He will be competing on floor exercise. Crystal chose to vault, Laurent chose floor exercise.
It was a very strong mount. It was a full twisting double back flip. I've seen him do that with one more twist. I've seen him do a double twisting double back. He's very powerful in floor exercise. There's a double pike, a minor hop on the landing. Barbieri is very, very strong in floor exercise. It's one of his best events. There's a planche, a nice strength move right up to a handstand. There's a round of flip-flop full punch front. That's one of the new things we're seeing a lot in men's floor exercise. Backflip immediately into a front flip. Barbieri had a great meet at the American Cup. I was talking to him earlier. He said it was one of the best meets he's had in his life. So he's really pleased with the way his gymnastics is going right now.
He's very popular in America, too. The crowd's always behind him.
Yes, very much. Now he's going to set up for his dismount. Probably a double back flip. It's a big step forward. He'll probably lose a tenth or two from that, but it was a very strong routine.
Laurent Barbieri on floor exercise.
Going back to his mount, he's a very quick and explosive tumbler. And he has very, very good form. You see it's a full twisting backflip in the first flip and just a backflip in the second. Now I see an overhead view of his dismount. Just a double backflip. You'll see that he doesn't quite finish his rotation enough.
What does that mean? That he needed more power, or he didn't tuck tight enough?
Either he needed to pull his legs in a little bit more, not open as soon, or he just needed more power. It's one or the other, but either way, it would give him a much better landing.
It's a little bit under-rotated for Laurent Barbieri. While we're waiting for his score, I'll tell you about Crystal Robert. She vaulted twice. Her first vault received a 9.3. Her second received a 9.2. So only the first score will count, 9.3. That will be added to Laurent Barbieri's score. Combined total, well, if it's good enough, it'll put him into the second round. Remember, there are 20 teams competing. Only 6 will advance to the second round. Laurent Barbieri is studying business and languages. He's one of the few international gymnasts who can speak English here, was very charming in interviews. The combined total for this tandem has now been handed to me, 18.6, and according to my math, that means both gymnasts receive a 9.3 for their effort. So with an 18.6, we are going to take a commercial timeout. When we return, we will have our next pairs. Please stay with us. McDonald's International Mixed Pairs competition. We have moved now to the uneven parallel bars. We are still in our first round, and this is Boriana Stoyanova of Bulgaria. She's 17 years old. She lives in Sofia, Bulgaria. And she wants very badly to compete in the 88 Olympic Games.
Stoyanova has been one of the strongest gymnasts in the international scene for a few years now, and she's really well respected in the sport.
She finished second in the American Cup competition, and she chose her events, her apparatus, the uneven, the parallel bars to be first, then balance beam, and then floor exercise. She decided to let go of vaulting, and she said she chose her order based on the Olympic order of competition. So she really didn't have much of a strategy as to which one she wanted to go first. Do you believe, Peter, having competed in the mixed pairs, that you should put your best and highest scoring event first to guarantee you passage into the second round?
Yeah, that's usually the smartest thing to do, is to do the event that you're most secure with and that you feel you can get the highest score. That helps to push you forward. But maybe Stoyanova just felt that every event's good for her, and it really doesn't matter which event she does, and that's the kind of attitude that you can have sometimes if you really feel prepared.
That's confidence.
She was people don't realize that she really gave Christy Phillips a run for her money in the American Cup.
She may give her a run for her money here.
There were many times during the competition that she was actually leading. She goes up to the high bar. Most of the tricks now the girls are doing is on the high bar. There's a free hip circle to a handstand, a giant, full pirouette. And set up for a dismount.
Sounded like she hit the sidewalk.
It sure did. And a toe on, front with a half dismount. Perfect landing. We'll see this dismount again. There's a free up to a handstand. Toe on, front with a half twist, and watch this landing. Just perfect. No movement at all.
Pretty routine, but Boriana Stoyanova, her coach, Margaret Krastev, is very happy. Now we are moving over to the rings where her teammate, Dijon Kolev, is about to compete. He lives in Varna. He is 20 years of age, and he elected to go with the rings, the vaulting, and the high bar should he last that long. This team can advance to the second round.
Rings is a very popular event for a lot of these, for the male gymnasts to go on because it's a very secure event. Once you put your hands on the rings, you don't have to let go until you do a dismount. And it's a fun event to compete on. I'm sure it's also a very good event for Dijon. Now, he's a young gymnast, and I haven't seen much of him, but I'm sure we'll see a lot of him in the future. So back up rise right to a handstand. Giant to a handstand. There's an inverted cross.
The hardest part about the rings, to me, it would seem, is the fact that the apparatus moves.
Yes, and you have to keep them as still as possible. When you're doing a multiple flipping twist like you just did, it can be very difficult. Look how strong he is, though. That was an Olympic cross into an iron cross. Kip, now he's going to get ready for his dismount. It's a hollow back press to a handstand. And a double layout dismount. Nicely done.
Dijon Kolev competing on the rings. In case you're just joining us, the reason we are ping-ponging through the events, it's because the apparatus is chosen by the gymnast, and he elected to compete first on the still rings.
Now Harry is getting ready for his dismount. He presses up to a handstand, and he will bail from the handstand and go right into his dismount. A lot of gymnasts like to do a giant dislocate first, but he just goes for it. Double layout, and he lands it perfectly.
His teammate, Boriana Stoyanova, received a 9.55 for her routine on the uneven parallel bars as they congratulate each other. He would like to score at least that, if not better, for his ring routine. 20 pairs are competing in this first round. 6 will survive for the second round. All told, each gymnast will compete only on 3 apparatus. So that's why you choose your strongest 3, and as you suggested, your best one first. So we are waiting for Dijon Kolev's score. We recall that Christelle Robert and Laurent Barbieri received an 18.6 combined total. Their combined total, as you can see, is now 19.0. And we will be back with more international competition, more men, more women. But first, this. For China, her teammate Wang Chongsheng is standing by at the pommel horse. As we said earlier, in women's vaulting, they are allowed to execute 2 vaults. The better of the 2 scores is the one that counts.
Zhang Yingzhu is a very powerful gymnast. You can see the leg strength. She's got very muscular legs. And in the past, the Chinese women have been powerful on the balance beam and on the uneven bars, but their weaker events have been floor exercise and vault. And now the new wave of the Chinese women is to be very strong on those events also. So we should see some good vaults from her.
Zhang Yingzhu is in her second year on the Chinese national team. She's 16 years of age, and she studies at the Hunan Sports School. She is coached by Yu Jingxian.
And smile because the audience has a tendency to be on television. Score for Marcus Leyland, Switzerland was 9.4. For Nicole Stroyla was 8.
We have seen gymnasts from France, gymnasts from Bulgaria. Now we are seeing gymnasts from China. Other countries that are represented include Japan, Italy, Switzerland, Venezuela, Australia, Mexico, Germany, and of course the Soviet Union. And we have an international panel of judges. So if it seems a little bit slow, it's because there's a communications problem too.
There's a laid out Tsukahara with a full twist. Very powerful. She took a big step. That'll be a deduction, but she gets one more chance. Let's see if she can do it perfectly. She had a very good set. She waited a while before she twisted. Really got that height and rotation first.
This young lady is 4'7".
Do you wish
It weighs 84
the men could do
pounds.
too, so they can correct
It is
some of their errors?
16 years old.
Yeah, I wish that it'd be nice